What's going on, everyone? So, Sam and Tara Carpenter were supposed to be the faces of Scream for the foreseeable future, right? Obviously, they were in the previous two films, and the idea was to keep this ball rolling, right? Particularly with Sam. Sam was supposed to be the new Sidney esque character, and then what happened, and they ended up departing, and it was like, okay, well, now what? Right? Does this mean we're not getting a Scream 7? Does this mean that we're done? What's the deal? What is going to happen? And then we got news that Sidney Prescott was coming back. Now, I am somebody that wanted them to move off of Sidney, move off of the OG characters. I grew up with them. I love them. But the reality is at some point, all good things come to an end. And I love the franchise more. And I want to see Ghostface in Scream more. Like, the beauty of Scream, it's one of the few franchises that you could just do forever. Right? It's not a singular person. It's not, Michael Myers or Freddy Krueger or Jason Voorhees or anything like that. It is just one costume that anybody could wear, right? And that was one of the benefits. But I understand the circumstances, right? Carpenter sisters, they leave. Melissa and Jenna, they depart. It's like, what's the safest bet? Bring back Sidney, and there you go. And then it was like, okay, well, what else are they going to do? What direction are they going to? So it's just going to be a Sidney and Gale movie again? Doesn't look like it, right? It looks like they're continuing to go the sister route, right? Just like you had Sam and Tara and building up that sister arc, that sister story. Clearly, these writers have this knack for two female leads and two kind of focused characters. Obviously, one is kind of more centered than the other, like I said, with Sam. But Jenna Ortega, especially in Scream 6, you saw her kind of more in the forefront, which also makes sense given, Jenna Ortega and the success she's had recently. But now you look at this upcoming Scream 7, and we have very likely two female leads, and two actresses that are probably going to be the face going forward. They're probably going to be the face of the franchise and the future of this franchise for a long time, right? These two, in Isabel May and McKenna Grace, we finally got confirmation that McKenna Grace is officially signed on to Scream 7, which is great. Now, we don't, at least at the time of recording this video, maybe the news changed, maybe it's came out. At least at the time of recording this video, McKenna Grace has not been listed as like Sidney's daughter. Isabel May is confirmed to be playing Sidney's daughter. However, McKenna Grace, we're still waiting on the actual, what role she's going to play. But we have confirmation that she is actually a part of this film, which is huge. And then chances are they're both going to be the daughters, because we know Sidney has two daughters. Right? She has the child that she was pushing in the stroller on the pier. And then she, talked about with Dewey on the phone, was like, hey, just getting a run in or jogging before I got to take the girls to school. Girls as in plural, as in more than one. And then you got the McKenna Grace just kind of rumors first that she was being interviewed for a role that was supposed to be Sidney's daughter. And then Isabel May kind of came out of left field, and everyone was like, okay, well, what happened to McKenna Grace? Like, is she still going to be in this film? Is she still going to be involved? Are they just not? Is she going to play the younger daughter? What's going to happen? Now we know Isabel May is expected to play the older daughter, which she is older. She's 24, so it makes sense. And then McKenna Grace will play the younger daughter, which makes sense. She's younger, 18. And there you go. Now you got the two daughters of Sidney Prescott. And that's huge, right? I mean, look, Sam and Tara, characters, whether you love them, hate them, they were fixtures and will remain fixtures in the Scream franchise forever. But you're talking about, iconic now, right? You're talking about Sidney Prescott, literally the face of the franchise outside of Ghostface, right? The final girl. And you're talking about now her children and the two actresses that are going to play her children. And you have to get that right? Storytelling, story development, character development, right? It is so crucial, in my opinion, at this point. Because Scream 5, the consensus was Sam was awful, get rid of her. People weren't fans of Sam at all. People did not like Melissa Barrera at all in her portrayal of Sam Carpenter. You can't have that with this. Again, this is Sidney's children. This is Sidney's daughters. You cannot fumble the bag to that manner. You have to make sure that with these two, you hit this out of the park, that you're telling good, convincing stories with them, that you're developing their characters in a proper manner, really kind of making sure that they're in the forefront. Because again, Sidney's daughters are probably going to be the future of the franchise, right? Sidney Prescott at some point, I'm not saying that she won't be in the films going forward. I imagine that they'll keep her in these films and involved as long as possible. As long as they can keep her involved, I'm sure that they will. But you look at kind of Sidney and you can see maybe like her kind of stepping into the background a little bit more. And then these two actresses kind of step into the forefront and being kind of the mainstay of the Scream franchise going forward. You know, you have an opportunity here with Sidney Prescott and her family. Like, we didn't know she had a family until Scream 5. You established it. You knew that this moment would have to come. You can't set something like that up without actually following through with that. So you had to have had a plan. You had to have had a purpose. You knew how many children she had. You knew what her husband was. Mark and Kay, we got confirmation with that. Patrick Dempsey is still not official yet. Again, time of recording this video, things can change very quickly. But he is expected to sign on. I mean, he's even kind of said he'll basically be back. He's also doing another horror film with Spyglass. So that's another kind of good sign that, you know, he's building that relationship with them. So, but again, you have an opportunity here, Sidney Prescott, in a way that we've never seen before. The stakes are higher than they've ever been because it's not just her anymore. It's her and her children now. Right now, she's not just solely responsible for keeping herself alive. She's responsible for keeping her husband, her children, right? Like, again, she's in a compromised position that she's never, ever been in. And you have an opportunity to tell a story that Scream has never been able to tell. Because we've never had an actual family getting family, right? Fast and Furious, right? But we've never had an actual family being targeted by Ghostface and they're having to try to survive. Like, this is very unique and a real opportunity. You don't know who Ghostface can be. Please, for the love of everything, do not make them, whatever, do not make it to where it's Sidney's daughters or anything like that. Please keep it straightforward and simple. But, you know, just like we saw with Jenna Ortega and Melissa Barrera and, you know, Sam and Tara Carpenter and their character portrayal and how they really built the story and the circumference characters around those two. That's kind of how I see them going forward. Clearly, these writers have that idea of having these two female leads, having these two sisters, because they're going the sister route again. Now you got Sam and Tara, and then now you're going to have Sidney and her daughters, right? So you have this reoccurring sister theme, which is fine. I'm not against it, right? I know a lot of people, I've seen a lot of comments just here and, you know, X and or Twitter, whatever you want to call it, and all that stuff, where a lot of people have, you know, been talking about, like, you know, why not like a male lead? Why not have, like, you know, the final guy instead of the final girl? Which, you know, I'm not against either. Look, I just, at the end of the day, I care less. I just want good quality movie storytelling, right? Usually it's females because of just psychology, right? Like, usually when girls are in a severe situation, the audience reacts differently than when it's a male, right? It's just how it works, how it goes. It's why it is that way, right? Like, part of the reason why, right? Like, so again, I don't mind either way. I'm fine with the two female leads. I'm fine with the two sisters carrying forward, but you cannot mess this up. Because they start, like, they kind of regrouped a little bit in Scream 6, but they fumbled the ball badly in Scream 7, right? Or in Scream 5. They cannot fumble the bag again. Got to get this right. You have to hit this right. Isabel May, McKenna Grace, two excellent actresses that, you know, can really step into this role and play the roles that you need. Obviously, they have a clear kind of look and aesthetic. Both, you could, I mean, just looking at them, you could be like, oh man, they could look like sisters. Like, you buy them as sisters, all of that. Right? So you have an opportunity here and you cannot blow this. You have to make sure you knock this out of the park. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion and I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? You excited? Excited to see the Prescott sisters. We're going from the Carpenter sisters to the Prescott sisters, and that's something you're really looking forward to. Is that something you're excited for? Again, I want to be clear. We don't know for certain yet at the time of recording this video. I want to make sure that we're doing this properly. It is very possible that McKenna Grace is playing a different role. I doubt it. My personal opinion is that I think she'll be the younger sister. Isabel May will be the older sister. And that'll kind of be the way that they approach this and go about it. But outside of that, excited for Sidney and the role that she's going to play, and the stakes being raised higher than they've ever been. Like I mentioned, with her husband and her children, and how she's not just responsible for herself, but now responsible for her 3 kids at least, and her husband. She's talking 4 other people. What do you think about the overall story? Do you think and agree, like, yes, you cannot drop the ball this time? You have to make sure you knock this out of the park. Again, however you feel, whatever your thoughts are. Either way, I would love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me out. We enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, what are you doing? Hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one.